Good morning, America. Deadly strikes. Russia launching a new barrage on Ukraine, which says hundreds of missiles and drones were used in the attack, targeting energy and gas facilities. At least 11 people killed, 30 others injured, coming a day after the U.S. paused intelligence sharing with Kyiv.
Cause of death. New Mexico's medical examiner releases autopsy results for Gene Hackman and his wife.
He was in an advanced state of Alzheimer's, and it's quite possible that he was not aware that she was deceased.
The tragic scenario and the role of a rare and dangerous virus.
Tariff turnabout. President Trump's new economic threat against Canada. A 250% surcharge on dairy products just a day after putting other tariffs on hold. The latest twists and turns.
Alleged college hazing death. Authorities say a student died after being punched in the chest multiple times and abandoned at a hospital emergency room. One person charged, with more arrests expected.
Spring break crackdown. The warning from Florida officials.
We can't have things just descend into madness and mayhem and chaos.
The measures being put in place to keep the peace, with the warning, take the party elsewhere.
Daring rescues. The tricky mission to save two hikers who fell 800 feet off a snowy cliff.
Honestly, I think it was kind of just straight panic.
Now speaking out about their ordeal.
One more time. And March Madness countdown. Highlights of the thrilling games overnight.
To Davis for the win. Got it!
Games decided in the final seconds. No shoes, no problem. Plus, the NBA player making history on the court.
Live from ABC News in New York, this is Good Morning America.
Oh, Janae's singing already.
Oh, yeah.
She's getting ready for good, right? Yeah, I'm excited.
Good morning, America. Good to see you. There is so much ahead this morning here on this Saturday morning. The rise in measles cases, of course, with new measles vaccine recommendations for the epicenter of the outbreak in West Texas.
And authorities in New Mexico revealing more information about their investigation into the deaths of legendary actor Gene Hackman and his wife.
We'll get to both of those stories, but we begin with Russia's deadly overnight barrage on Ukraine, coming just a day after the U.S. pressed pause on sharing intelligence with Ukraine. Fires erupting from the attacks. So let's get the latest from ABC's Lama Hassan this morning. Good morning, Lama.
Yeah, good morning to you, Janae. Overnight, Russian airstrikes across Ukraine intensifying, with Russian forces pounding the eastern regions of Donetsk and Kharkiv, as well as the southern port city of Odessa, killing at least 14 people and injuring 40 others, including 5 children. And the death toll is rising. Russia targeting at least 8 residential buildings, as well as Ukraine's biggest energy and gas companies, launching at least 145 drones and 2 ballistic missiles from multiple locations. Russia's fierce aerial assault proving too difficult for Ukraine's air force to intercept all of them. President Zelensky posting on social media saying these strikes show Russia's goals are unchanged, and once again driving home the point that Ukraine needs to strengthen its air defenses and tighten sanctions against Russia. Of course, these attacks come after the U.S. has cut off Ukraine's access to commercial satellite imagery, stopping military aid and sharing intelligence, all crucial for Ukraine's military to operate. One Ukrainian officer saying, "We are fighting blindly." The U.S. is increasing pressure on Ukraine into peace talks with Russia, and of course all eyes will be on the scheduled talks in Saudi Arabia next week between U.S. and Ukrainian negotiators, hoping to agree to a peace deal. Whit.
All right, Lama Hassan for us. Thank you. We move now to the tragic revelations here at home involving the deaths of legendary actor Gene Hackman and his wife. ABC's Zareen Shah has more on what we're learning from the New Mexico medical examiner now. Zareen, good morning.
With what the investigation found possibly as shocking as the announcement of the deaths themselves. One finding was that Hackman had Alzheimer's and possibly did not know his wife had been dead for a week. This morning, stunning new details about the death of actor Gene Hackman and his wife, Betsy. Investigators revealing they believe Hackman died of heart disease with complications from Alzheimer's, and he possibly did not know of his wife's death from the rare hantavirus in the same home just 1 week before. Hantavirus is transmitted to humans through rodent urine, droppings, or saliva. There have been less than 900 cases since the CDC started tracking it more than 30 years ago. On February 11th, Hackman's wife, Betsy Arakawa, was last seen on a surveillance camera at CVS Pharmacy in Santa Fe. Shortly after, investigators say she died of natural causes.
Based on the circumstances, it is reasonable to conclude that Ms. Hackman passed away first.
Investigators say it is unclear if the Oscar-winning actor knew his wife of 30 years was dead or whether he was able to take care of himself on his own. An autopsy revealing Hackman's stomach was empty, meaning he hadn't eaten recently, but he did not appear to be dehydrated.
He was in an advanced state of Alzheimer's, and it's quite possible that he was not aware that she was deceased.
Officials say they believe Hackman likely died 1 week later, around February 18th, based on data from his pacemaker. A week after that, on February 26th.
Okay. Are they moving at all?
No, dude, they're not moving. Just send somebody out here really quick.
Police say a caretaker found Hackman's body in the mudroom, appearing to have fallen. Betsy found in the bathroom with pills scattered on the counter, and their dog dead just feet away. Preliminary tests came back negative for carbon monoxide poisoning, which was initially seen as a possible cause for their death. Investigators say the couple's dog had just gotten a procedure done, which may explain why it was in a crate.
The deceased dog has been taken for necropsy at the Veterinary Diagnostic Services, and we'll be awaiting those results.
And it is unclear exactly how their dog died. The vet says based on the timeline, it's possible the dog could have died of starvation. Gio.
Such a mystery, Zorine. Thank you so much. And joining us now with more on what to know about this hantavirus is Dr. Stephanie Widmer. Dr. Widmer, thank you so much for being here. I got to be honest, I've never heard of this. And I started Googling right away. And what I found was really interesting. Tell me about how common this is and what are the symptoms?
So hantavirus is a viral syndrome. It is incredibly rare. In fact, since the CDC has been tracking it since 1993, there really have not been many cases at all. The mortality is very high. There are essentially two types of hantavirus. There's hantavirus pulmonary syndrome, which primarily affects the lungs, and then a syndrome that primarily affects the kidneys. Yes. It can manifest with different types of symptoms, respiratory failure, difficulty breathing, kidney injury, internal bleeding, and other things that we commonly see with other viral syndrome, like fever, chills, body aches, weakness, things like that.
So is there a treatment for this virus?
Unfortunately, there is not a specific medication or a designated treatment for hantavirus. Like other viral syndromes, supportive care is the mainstay of treatment, IV hydration, rest, fluids, things like that. And you know, really, in the case of hantavirus, getting to the hospital sooner rather than later is the goal, especially because the mortality rate is so high, so that monitoring and supportive care can be initiated earlier rather than later.
And you mentioned those flu-like symptoms. Could she have mistaken this for the flu?
It is definitely possible that she could have mistaken this for the flu. It does share some common symptoms like the fever, the body aches, the weakness. It's entirely possible she didn't know what was going on and was maybe too weak to seek care or too confused or just overall too sick. It's really hard to know what happened.
Yeah, so many questions. Dr. Stephanie Widmer, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it. Janae?
All right. Well, we're going to turn to politics now, to the Trump administration's new tariff threat, a 250% surcharge on dairy products from Canada. ABC's Selena Wang is in Washington with the latest. Good morning, Selena. We've had a lot of back and forth with these tariffs.
Yeah, Janae, there's been a lot of back and forth and a lot of whiplash from the White House this week. The president imposing tariffs, walking them back, then threatening more. All of that chaos is spooking investors and confusing our allies.
This morning, another twist in President Trump's on-again, off-again tariffs. Trump threatening to impose steep tariffs on all lumber and dairy from Canada just one day after putting pause on his trade war with Canada and Mexico.
Canada has been ripping us off for years on tariffs for lumber and for dairy products.
Trump says he's matching the hefty taxes that Canada puts on American dairy and lumber.
250%. Nobody ever talks about that. 250% tariff, which is taking advantage of our farmers. They make it impossible for us to sell lumber or dairy products into Canada.
The president says these new tariffs could take effect next Monday or Tuesday, just the latest whiplash since President Trump imposed 25% tariffs on all goods from Canada and Mexico on March 4th. Stock markets tumbled as car makers warned of devastating consequences, and CEOs said grocery prices could increase in days. Then Trump reversed course, pausing tariffs for automakers, then hitting the brakes on many tariffs on Canadian and Mexican imports for 1 month. The president signaling that this volatility is here to stay.
There'll always be changes and adjustments. There'll always be some modifications.
The president also defending his administration's mass firings of federal workers.
We're trying to shrink government and grow the private sector.
Some 4,000 Pentagon workers receiving termination notices. Just the first round of layoffs that could total tens of thousands. Trump brushing off concerns that these sweeping firings will impact the labor market.
I think the labor market's going to be fantastic, but it's going to have high-paying manufacturing jobs as opposed to government jobs.
And we're learning from sources that Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency is going through $1.6 trillion worth of Social Security payments. The White House says this is about finding fraud and abuse, but advocates worry the Trump administration could start denying payments to older Americans.
All right, Selena Wang, thanks so much. We appreciate it. This morning, authorities in Louisiana making their first arrest in the alleged hazing death of college junior Caleb Wilson. And Wilson's family is now speaking out about their loss.
This morning, an arrest in connection with the tragic death of Southern University student Caleb Wilson, who police say died in an alleged hazing incident. 23-year-old Caleb McCrae faces charges of manslaughter and criminal hazing. McCrae, a graduate of the same university, turning himself in Thursday as authorities search for at least 2 more suspects.
Detectives have interviewed over a dozen people and executed multiple search warrants to gather as much information as possible.
Last month, authorities say 20-year-old Caleb Wilson was brought unresponsive to a Baton Rouge emergency room, a group of men leaving him there and taking off. Court documents say the males allegedly told hospital staff that Wilson collapsed after being struck in the chest while playing basketball. But officials now say that was not true.
Caleb Wilson died as the direct result of a hazing incident where he was punched in the chest multiple times while pledging to Omega Psi Phi fraternity.
Wilson was a junior at the university, studying mechanical engineering, an avid member of the school's band called Human Jukebox. His grieving father, Corey, recalling his son's love for music at a recent vigil.
Thank you all, the Human Jukebox. This is Caleb's life. He really loved the jukebox.
On the night of his death, according to court documents, Wilson and 8 other fraternity pledges arrived at a local warehouse where the pledges stood in a line and were each punched 4 times with boxing gloves by at least 3 individuals. McCrae allegedly punching Wilson, who collapsed to the floor, becoming unresponsive. Police say they discovered a pair of black boxing gloves at the scene. McCrae's attorney writing in a statement, the charges brought against Mr. Caleb McCrae are serious. However, it is essential to remember that an accusation is not proof of guilt.
And Southern University says the fraternity at the center of this case, Omega Psi Phi, has been ordered to cease all activities as the investigation gets underway. Authorities say more arrests are expected. Gio.
Incredible that this is still happening, Whit. All right, thank you. Also this morning, with spring break right around the corner, officials in Miami Beach are telling partygoers, you're not wanted. It's all part of a new crackdown, and ABC's Ashin Singh is here now with more on this. Good morning, Ashin.
Good morning, Gio. And it's that time of year again as residents of hotspot destinations brace for the influx of spring breakers on their local communities. After consecutive years of stampedes and mayhem in South Florida, last year the DeSantis administration took a more aggressive approach in cracking down on the crowds. And this year, they're doubling down.
This morning, Florida officials sending a message to spring breakers looking to party hard.
We can't have things just descend into madness and mayhem and chaos.
State and local officials reinforcing efforts to prevent ruckus scenes like this one. Governor Ron DeSantis pledging to boost security measures, including drone and aviation assets and K-9 units, building on the 140 state troopers who deployed across Florida in 2024.
Miami Beach is currently under a state of emergency.
With the heightened security, last year hotspot destination Miami Beach only saw 16 arrests.
We kept people safe. We had calm instead of chaos as we saw in years past. It's not just the month of March. Law and order is 365 days a year.
Miami Beach, here we come. Last month, the city issuing the Spring Break Reality Check, a spoof reality show trailer warning the notoriously rowdy crowds of the rules before they arrive.
You're drinking in public, that's not allowed. The speaker, that's not allowed.
We are broken up with spring break, and if you come to our city and break any laws,
you will receive a reality check.
And guys, I was down in Miami last year covering the state's new response measures to the crowds, and you could tell they were ready. Streets were preemptively barricaded, and there was a heavy presence of law enforcement. They are serious about breaking up with spring break. Janae?
They certainly are, Ashin. Thank you. From Florida to Texas now, and the growing measles outbreak in the western part of the state. Nearly 200 cases, leading officials there to revise their vaccine recommendations in the hotspots. ABC's Phil Lipoff is here now with those details. Good morning, Phil.
Janae, good morning. And this morning, as you are correct, health officials in Texas are issuing those updated vaccine guidelines for 6 counties as that measles outbreak there continues to grow. At least 198 cases in that state reported now. That's 39 more cases than the last update we got, which was on Tuesday. So far, 23 people have been hospitalized in Texas. Most of the cases are in unvaccinated people or those whose vaccination status is just not known. In 5 of the cases, the patient received at least 1 dose of the 2-dose vaccine. And 1 unvaccinated school-aged child with no underlying medical conditions living in that outbreak area has died, the first death for measles in a decade. The majority of people infected are under 18.
This reminds us of why those vaccines are so important. So, Phil, what do those updated vaccine recommendations include?
All right, so their new recommendations include this: an early dose of the MMR vaccine for infants starting at 6 months to 11 months. That's earlier. And a second dose for adults who have only received 1. Those updated guidelines, Janae, apply to 6 counties in Texas where more than 90% of the cases are. Nationwide, there are at least 222 reported cases in 12 states, and that does include the Texas outbreak. And we should point out that there are some intermittent flare-ups of travel-related cases across the country every year. The CDC says it has sent a rapid response team to Texas. The agency also says it sent 2,000 doses of the vaccine to Texas as well, that MMR vaccine, but so far, no change in guidance from the federal government. Janae?
All right. Interesting, the update for adults. Thank you for that, Phil.
Just a reminder of how contagious the virus can be, too. All right, we do move on now. An outside lawyer asked by the judge to weigh in on the corruption charges against New York City Mayor Eric Adams has recommended the case be dismissed for good. Federal prosecutors, encouraged by the Justice Department, filed a motion to dismiss the case last month, saying that Adams can't effectively cooperate on immigration enforcement if he's fighting a corruption case, but they wanted the right to charge him in the future. Mayor Adams has denied all allegations of wrongdoing. Gio?
All right, we'll see what happens there.
Now to our countdown to March Madness. Some major games overnight as the men's and women's regular season winds down. Ike Ajachi is here. And Ike, I'm excited because you're going to be talking about NIU, Northern Illinois University, my hometown.
I mean, it's just the best news you've heard all day.
It is.
Let me not mess up your glasses here.
It's all good.
But good morning. Listen, right now, we are right in the middle of one of the best months in college sports. It's conference tournaments week for men's and women's college basketball. In just over a week, we're going to have to start filling out those all-important March Madness brackets. But first, we already have some exciting games getting us hyped for the big dance. Take a look at this. We're going to start with the men and a down-to-the-wire game between Illinois and Purdue. The game tied at 79 with just 40 seconds on the clock when freshman Kasparis Jakusionis hits a step-back triple, giving his team the lead. Illinois pulling through, beating number 18 Purdue 80-88. Now, Northern Illinois also coming out on the top. Here we go. In a double overtime thriller against Central Michigan, James Dent Jr. making this game-winning shot with just 1.5 seconds left. That was for you, Janae. He had a career-high 36 points over the women. The Michigan Wolverines pulling off an upset against number 15 Maryland in the Big Ten tournament, winning 98-71. Also, Ohio State's Cotty McMahon converting 2 free throws with 6 seconds left, leading the Buckeyes to a 60-59 win over Iowa, snapping Iowa's 11-game Big Ten tournament win streak. And finally, how about this play, guys? In Texas women's basketball win against Ole Miss in the SEC quarterfinals, a player saved her teammate's shoe and makes a fast break play ending in a bucket. How about that?
With the pass.
Right? Look at that. No shoe.
The shovel pass?
That's
so good.
No shoe, no problem. You know what I mean? But the action, it continues all day today, starting with the women. North Carolina taking on NC State at noon on ESPN2. And for the men, a full day of action starting at noon on ESPN, leading up to the big rivalry tonight, Duke at North Carolina. Guys.
All right, almost bracket time.
Let's go.
It really does remind you, whether you're a sports fan or not, how exciting March Madness is.
For sure.
I am a sports fan, so is Gio, but for anyone who's not.
Well, I'm just glad Northern Illinois won.
Yeah.
Because I guess that's why you're happy.
Go DeKalb.
All right, Ike, thank you so much. Coming up here on Good Morning America, the hikers who fell from an 800-foot cliff, now they're talking about their amazing survival story.
Plus, the potential good news for consumers as wholesale egg prices go down.
And in our second hour, how a Washington Capitals hockey player and the V Foundation for Cancer Research are partnering to raise funds for fighting pediatric cancer.
Ooh, we are defying gravity on GMA on this Saturday morning. Broadway has a new Elphaba, and not only is she amazing, you're hearing that voice, but she's also making history. Linsey Davis just took over the role in Wicked, becoming the first black actor to play the role of Elphaba full-time on Broadway. Wow. And she's absolutely unbelievable. Another Wicked first, Jenna Bainbridge is now the first wheelchair-using actor to play the role of Nessa Rose on stage. So congratulations to both of them.
Yes,
amazing.
Big congratulations. Let's take a look at some of the other big stories that we're following on this Saturday morning. Happening right now, an urgent manhunt for 3 gunmen who authorities say opened fire in a Toronto pub overnight. At least a dozen people injured. Police say the victims range in ages from their 20s to mid-50s, 6 of them suffering gunshot wounds, but there are, thankfully, no life-threatening injuries.
Some good news for egg lovers. The Department of Agriculture announcing that the national average wholesale price of eggs fell by more than $1 this week, bringing the wholesale price for a dozen eggs to $6.85.
And the Denver Nuggets' Nikola Jokic makes history with 31 points, 21 rebounds, and 22 assists against the Phoenix Suns in overtime. Jokic is now the first player in NBA history with a 30-20-20 game triple-double. You're following all that? It's a lot of numbers, right? The Nuggets going into overtime to win 149-141.
Did you laugh because I said that's huge? That's a big deal, right? It's a big feat.
Well, it's another one of Janae's favorite teams, the Nuggets.
Yeah.
The Nuggets. I love the Nuggets. Go Denver.
Jokic. I love the Jokic. All right. We do start this half hour with a look at some of the top political headlines that we're following. And joining us this morning from Washington, our senior White House correspondent, Selena Wang, and ABC contributing political correspondent, Rachel Bade. Good morning to the both of you. So, Selena, let's start with you and talking about this tariff whiplash, so to speak. The tariffs they were on, and then now they're off again, or at least some of them. So what's happening here, and what does this actually mean for consumers and businesses now?
Yeah, Whit, there has been so much whiplash. So let me just first walk you through what happened in just the last week. So President Trump, he imposed 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico. Then he very quickly reversed course on many of those tariffs. And then now he's threatening to impose very high tariffs on all dairy and lumber from Canada. So all of that chaos and confusion, it is spooking the stock markets. And it makes it really hard for businesses to plan for the future when they don't know what's coming down the pipeline in the next day or week or month. Now, President Trump insists that tariffs are about bringing jobs back to America, bringing manufacturing jobs back to this country. But economists warn that it's going to raise prices on everything from produce to cars to clothes to gas and much more. And those potential lumber tariffs, those could be really painful. That's because we import about 30% of our lumber from Canada, and then home building companies, construction companies, they would bear that higher cost, then likely pass it on to consumers by raising home prices. And guys, the president is also warning that more tariffs are coming on April 2nd.
Okay, so more to look forward to, Selena. And you're also learning new details about a cabinet meeting with the president and Elon Musk, his cabinet members, and maybe some behind-the-scenes infighting.
Yeah, we're learning from sources that there were some pretty tense moments during that meeting, and there were even some clashes between Elon Musk and some of Trump's cabinet leaders. Also in that meeting, we're told that the president's message to his cabinet secretaries is that you're in charge of your departments, not Elon Musk. That's a pretty big deal. It's the first time we've heard of that Trump is actually putting limits on Elon Musk's power. It comes as we've known that for weeks now. Cabinet secretaries have been frustrated with the way that Musk has been carrying out his aggressive cost-cutting strategy that's caused a lot of chaos, panic, and confusion among the federal workforce. And after that meeting, President Trump said that these mass firings of federal workers should be done with a scalpel rather than a hatchet, saying that the best and most productive workers should be kept in the government. This also comes as there's been criticism from both Democrats and Republicans that the layoffs have been irresponsible and indiscriminate, guys.
All right, let's bring you in, Rachel, because if Congress can't strike a deal, the government runs out of money in about 6 days. Could we see a shutdown?
I mean, it's too early to say right now, but I mean, folks are certainly talking tough. And I think the interesting thing about this is typically we see people on the fringes, oftentimes conservatives, who say, I'm going to shut the government down unless I get something I want. Well, not in this case. Actually, in this case, it's pretty senior House Democrats who are the ones making the threats. I have talked to a number of folks who have told me that House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries is talking to his own members, asking them, are you willing to vote against government funding unless we get a promise from Donald Trump and Republicans that they're going to effectively stop Elon Musk from making all these controversial cuts that he's making? They find them, frankly, unconstitutional. The challenge with what they're demanding, though, is that Republicans are not going to handcuff the guy who's their own party leader who's in the White House right now. And they have told Democrats they're not going to do that, that they want the courts to ultimately decide how this is going to play out. The question for Democrats is, how far are they willing to actually take this fight?
Yeah, we know Democrats criticize Republicans previously for other shutdowns. And Rachel, you're also reporting that some Senate Democrats, they're not on board with this.
That's right. I mean, all Democrats on Capitol Hill have sort of panned and criticized Elon Musk for dismissing tens of thousands of federal workers. But the reality is, and Senate Democrats will point this out, if you go to a shutdown, we're talking about 2 million federal workers who will be furloughed without pay when, you know, the economy is not doing great for a lot of them right now. Are they really willing to do that? And I think the interesting thing about this fight to me is that it's just one sort of dispute in this larger debate in the Democratic Party about how aggressive should they be fighting Donald Trump. The base wants them to go really hard, but look, there are consequences to some things you do, including shutting the government down.
Political fighting in Washington and everyday Americans who could bear the brunt of that. Selena Wang, Rachel Bade, we thank you both for being with us this morning.
And the hikers who survived an 800-foot fall from a cliff finally rescued after being stranded on a snowy mountain for 3 days. Now they're actually talking about the complicated efforts to save them. And ABC's Morgan Norwood is here with that incredible story. Good morning, Morgan.
Yeah, truly incredible. Gio, picture this: stranded in the freezing wilderness, no food, and then fading hope. Veda Lynn and Christopher Ng had to huddle together for warmth after falling down that icy cliff. And this morning, the two are now opening up about how they survived 3 brutal days. And then the first responders who risked everything to save them. It was all caught on camera.
This morning, the 2 hikers seen in this harrowing rescue after being stranded for 3 days near Idlewild, California, speaking out from their hospital beds.
Honestly, I think it was kind of just straight panic.
Veda Lynn and Christopher Ng were hiking the San Jacinto Mountains last Saturday when they suddenly plummeted 800 feet from a snowy cliff. Lynn using the last bit of cell phone battery to call for help. About 3 hours later, the sounds of a rotor bringing instant but temporary relief.
Initially, we were thinking that they would be able to get to us pretty quick, since they said they were sending helicopters.
The helicopter turning back due to high winds and harsh rescue conditions. As the hours went on and temperatures dropped, the panic beginning to mount.
We need to have each other's body warmth in order to stay warm. So we ended up being kind of in the base of a tree to shield from the wind.
Helicopters trying several more times to move in, but conditions worsened. Rescuers then sending in ground teams, trekking through frigid temperatures, blistering winds, snow and ice, before finally reaching the pair. They were stranded in the wilderness for 24 hours and starting this fire to keep them warm.
They kind of just laid us down on a place where they could actually carry us back up.
Finally, and on day 3, helicopters able to move in, hoisting Veda up. Christopher pulled on a stretcher. Veda suffering several broken bones, including spinal fractures. Christopher frostbitten and breaking his pelvis. The two now grateful to be alive and thanking first responders.
They were just the most amazing people ever.
Heroes for real. They're just really awesome. I can't imagine doing what they do.
Yeah, true heroes there. Now, Veda was discharged yesterday while Chris remains in a Palm Springs hospital. Both say they have no plans ever to return to that mountain. But can you imagine, just when you think you're about to be rescued?
Gosh.
Yeah, 3 long days.
And those serious injuries, too. Thankfully, they're doing much better.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it, Morgan.
And as we celebrate International Women's Day, a look at how social media helped fuel a female mechanic's business. ABC's Will Gans is here with this incredible story. Can't wait to hear this, Will. Good morning.
One of my favorite finds on my For You page of the last couple of weeks, you guys. Desiree Hill says the switch from nursing to auto work was natural. You identify the symptoms, diagnose the issue, and then treat it. But what has been unexpected is the massive online community she's found along the way.
Desiree Hill is a mom with a message.
You can do anything. And if you decide that you're not happy in your career, change it.
At 34, the Atlanta mother of 2 decided to shift gears, pivoting from a career as a nurse to one as an auto mechanic.
It was something I was doing with my son at the time, who was 15, and he's in the Army now as a mechanic. So we did so much that I then started a mobile mechanic business in my community.
But Desiree doesn't look like your stereotypical auto mechanic.
Because of me being a female, they do look at me, I'm 5 foot, and and they're like, there's no way. And here I can tear your cab off of your truck and rebuild your entire engine.
Desiree recording her process as a self-professed she mechanic, sharing videos on TikTok where she's racked up nearly 500,000 likes.
I was able to then obtain a business, a brick and mortar, and hire a team, and now I have an auto repair shop and we're just killing it.
Desiree says in just 1 year, business at Crown's Corner Mechanics tripled thanks to TikTok, where 88% of small to medium business owners report increased sales after promoting products or services on the app. Plus, she's found a community there, too.
I've had young women that have reached out to me and just say that them seeing my story really gives them that oomph to do what they want to do.
But there are some potholes on her path to success.
There is some mansplaining going on in the comments. How do you deal with that?
I say, well, you come show me. But what people did, 20 years ago or 10 years ago is much different than what we do now.
And on this International Women's Day, Desiree's message is universal.
You don't have to be a man. You do what makes you happy.
Desiree says this is only the beginning for Crown's Corner Mechanics. She says she's building an empire, but the best part of that is sharing the journey with her family, including her 10-year-old daughter.
Oh, and what she's
love that.
teaching her daughter.
And her
so
honesty
great.
about it, too. It's like, you come show me how you did it 20 years ago.
Exactly.
I'll show you how it's done.
By the way, editing a TikTok video is hard. So to be working 10, 12 hours a day on a car and then editing the video afterwards, that's a lot.
But look, the algorithm is working. It's getting it to you and out to our viewers.
Well, we just need a segment called Will's For You page.
Yeah.
He's always...
No, you don't. No.
Oh,
not
okay.
here.
Well,
not here.
With our play of the day, and this is right up Oh Baby's alley here, right?
Really
We're talking baby animals here. Fans around the world, they've been captivated with Jackie and Shadow, the bald eagles who welcomed a pair of hatchlings in Big Bear, California 5 days ago. So there's been a big development overnight as well. The Nest Cam apparently capturing the chick in the 3rd egg, all but breaking free from its shell. But we are waiting for some definitive news on that, but there is progress here. That egg was laid 3 days after the others. Mom and dad constantly feeding the first 2 chicks fish and fowl to make them strong. And you can catch it all live on the Big Bear Bald Eagle Nest Cam. A naming contest is coming.
Naming contest.
They're so cute.
They are.
They work together.
Yeah, the family working together. I love it.
Dad's there helping keep the eggs warm while Mom goes and gets some food, and they switch
There you
off.
go.
Oh, love it. Thank you for that, Whit. All right, coming up here on GMA in our second hour, breaking down the drop in mortgage rates and what it could mean if you're shopping for a home this spring.
And our GMA cover story, the Great Chase, National League's Alex Ovechkin pursuing a big goal and turning it into a great cause.
And then it's Steals and Steals. Stick around.
Good morning, America. It's our second hour. Deadly strikes. Russia launching a new barrage on Ukraine, which says hundreds of missiles and drones were used in the attack, targeting energy and gas facilities. At least 11 people killed, 30 others injured, coming a day after the U.S. paused intelligence sharing with Kyiv.
NHL greats goal. Alex Ovechkin is skating towards making hockey history, scoring the most goals of all time.
Ovechkin to the slot. He scores!
Now he's using the great chase of that record for another goal, beating pediatric cancer. He tells us about his passion project.
And this morning, she means business. we're celebrating International Women's Day with female-founded companies, from bags to skincare to furry friends inspired by wildlife.
I'm the bad guy.
And the search is on.
Where's 007?
For the next.
Bond. James Bond.
What Pierce Brosnan has to say, and could one of our own be joining the iconic spy franchise? The latest as we say, Good Morning America.
It's Saturday morning. This is GMA.
It's a playlist this morning.
All right, look at it bumping in here. Good morning, America. Coming up, we sit down with the author behind our GMA book club pick for March, Count My Lies. It's her debut novel and just the beginning for Sophie Stava. And you'll meet her first right here on GMA.
Actually, need a new book myself, so
there you go.
might be checking that out. And mortgage rates dropping to their lowest level since December this week as applications to buy homes spiked. We will break down what it all means.
But first, we do begin here with the latest on those devastating attacks overnight in Ukraine. The death toll now rising. Let's go straight to our Lama Hassan in London. Lama, good morning.
Yeah, good morning to you, Gio. Overnight, Russian forces pounding Ukraine's regions of Donetsk, Kharkiv, Odessa and Kherson, killing at least 20 people and injuring 55 others, including 5 children. And the death toll is rising. Russia targeting several residential buildings, as well as Ukraine's biggest energy and gas companies, launching at least 145 drones and 2 ballistic missiles from multiple locations. President Zelensky posting on social media saying these strikes show Russia's goals are unchanged. Once again, driving home the point that Ukraine needs to strengthen its air defenses. And of course, these attacks come after the U.S. has cut off Ukraine's access to commercial satellite imagery, stopping military aid and sharing intelligence, all crucial for Ukraine's military to operate. One Ukrainian officer saying, "We are fighting blindly," and all eyes will be on the scheduled talks in Saudi Arabia next week between U.S. and Ukrainian negotiators, hoping to agree to a peace deal.
We'll certainly be watching for that, Lama. Thank you. Turning now to the tragic revelations involving the deaths of legendary actor Gene Hackman and his wife. ABC's Zareen Shah has what we're learning from the New Mexico medical examiner. Zareen, good morning again.
Janae, what the investigation found, possibly as shocking as the announcement of the deaths themselves. One finding was that Hackman had Alzheimer's and possibly did not know his wife had been dead for a week. This morning, stunning new details about the death of actor Gene Hackman and his wife, Betsy. Investigators revealing they believe Hackman died of heart disease with complications from Alzheimer's, and he possibly did not know of his wife's death from the rare hantavirus in the same home just 1 week before. Hantavirus is transmitted to humans through rodent urine, droppings, or saliva. There have been less than 900 cases since the CDC started tracking it more than 30 years ago. On February 11th, Hackman's wife, Betsy Arakawa, was last seen on a surveillance camera at CVS Pharmacy in Santa Fe. Shortly after, investigators say she died of natural causes.
Based on the circumstances, it is reasonable to conclude that Ms. Hackman passed away first.
Investigators say it is unclear if the Oscar-winning actor knew his wife of 30 years was dead or whether he was able to take care of himself on his own. An autopsy revealing Hackman's stomach was empty, meaning he hadn't eaten recently, but he did not appear to be dehydrated.
He was in an advanced state of Alzheimer's, and it's quite possible that he was not aware that she was deceased.
Officials say they believe Hackman likely died 1 week later, around February 18th, based on data from his pacemaker. A week after that, on February 26th.
Okay. Are they moving at all?
No, dude, they're not moving. Just send somebody out here really quick.
Police say a caretaker found Hackman's body in the mudroom, appearing to have fallen. Betsy found in the bathroom with pills scattered on the counter, and their dog dead just feet away. Preliminary tests came back negative for carbon monoxide poisoning, which was initially seen as a possible cause for their death. Investigators say the couple's dog had just gotten a procedure done, which may explain why it was in a crate.
The deceased dog has been taken for necropsy at the Veterinary Diagnostic Services, and we'll be awaiting those results.
It's unclear exactly how their dog died, but the vet says based on the timeline, it's possible the dog could have died of starvation.
All right, such a tragic story. Zareen Shah, thank you. Now to President Trump's new economic threat against Canada. Trump threatening to impose steep tariffs on all lumber and dairy from Canada just 1 day after putting a pause on his trade war with Canada and Mexico. The president saying he's matching the 250% tax that Canada puts on American dairy and lumber. These new tariffs could take effect as early as next Monday or Tuesday. And of course, this comes after Trump imposed 25% tariffs on all goods from Canada and Mexico on March 4th, then reversed course, pausing many tariffs on imports for 1 month.
All right, Whit, and this morning, mortgage rates are on the decline. So let's look at what that could mean for you and your money and the economy overall. ABC's Alexis Christopher is here now to break it all down. Good morning, Alexis.
Good morning, guys. Some relief, finally, right, for homeowners this week as mortgage rates continue to decline. All this uncertainty over tariffs and their impact on the economy helping to push mortgage rates down for the 7th straight week. So the average 30-year mortgage rate now at 6.63%. That's the lowest level since early December, and that has led to a spike in demand for mortgages. Applications to refinance jumping 37% in just the past week, while applications to buy a home rose 9%. A drop of even a small fraction of a percentage point in mortgage rates can mean thousands and thousands of dollars in savings over the lifetime of that mortgage.
So, Alexis, we call spring the home buying season, right? So what do these mortgage rates mean for that?
It's certainly good news, right, that mortgage rates are falling. They can make buying a home more attractive for some buyers, but we're still dealing with tight inventory, high home prices, and experts are warning they could go even higher. Those falling mortgage rates could actually increase demand for homes, which put pressure on prices. And the pending tariffs on lumber, steel, aluminum, they're all expected to raise home prices, especially for new construction. All this economic uncertainty could convince some potential buyers to hold off on let's face it, making their biggest purchase of their life.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's kind of a mixed bag of information. You know, maybe the rates are going down, but then, you know, what about the cost of lumber, tariffs, all these other things?
Impacts on inventory.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so
you have to do what's best for your situation at the time. If you find the right home and you can afford it, sometimes you just have to do it.
Yep, that's it. That's it. Thank you so much, Alexis. Appreciate it. Coming up on our GMA morning menu, meet the hockey great making a difference as he chases Wayne Gretzky's record of 894 career goals.
Also ahead, Tori Johnson has deals and steals for your home. You don't want to miss it.
And look who's here. Will Gans, what's going on?
Wingardium Leviosa.
Yes, it's Leviosa.
Oh, that's why it's not working. We'll have the latest from the halls of Hogwarts on some major Harry Potter series casting news. We'll be right back.
Nerd alert. And we are back now with our GMA cover story about Alex Ovechkin, one of the greatest hockey players ever, taking on Wayne Gretzky's all-time record of 894 goals scored. Now, even though he didn't get any closer in last night's game against the Detroit Red Wings, he's playing for a great cause.
Alex Ovechkin to the outside, turns it up, goes to the goal, and scores.
The Washington Capitals' Alex Ovechkin gives new meaning to hats off.
Ovechkin to the slot, he scores! Alex Ovechkin!
He's part of an elite club of players with over 800 career goals, and his pursuit,
How's that for 801?
dubbed the Great Chase, is in arm's reach as he looks to top hockey great Wayne Gretzky's 894 goals.
I try to not think about and try to focus on my game, but obviously when you're on the ice, you concentrate on the certain moments.
Now he wants to make those game-changing moments life-saving ones as well.
Ovechkin fires and scores!
Teaming up with the Capitals, Hockey Fights Cancer, and the V Foundation for Cancer Research to launch the Great Chase for Victory over cancer.
Alexander Ovechkin!
Through partnership, which raises money for pediatric research, Alex will monetarily match every goal he makes from now until the end of his career.
And he scores! Alexander Ovechkin!
So his 885th goal turned into $885, and on it goes as he chases the record, which will be matched by Monumental Sports and Entertainment Group.
We have to help kids and help people who have a cancer to research, so that's why the foundation is very important for us.
The cause supports kids like Alex Louis, who Ovechkin dedicated his 20th hat trick to, and countless others who he's met.
They're fighters. They do like a tremendous job to stay positive. You know, they bring smiles because obviously they're in tough situation, tough position, and we see like they're smiling. They bring that energy to us, and we give them a smile back, and that's very important for us.
Wow.
And fans can support the great chase by donating $8 or any amount that you can give, really, in honor of his historic pursuit of NHL's all-time goals record. Pretty cool, though. And everybody's getting involved in different organizations.
And how he's going to match for every point that he makes from here on out.
Yep.
Incredible.
Yep.
All right, it is time now for a little pop news with Will Gans. And William, you're a wizard.
A wizard. Expecto Pop Newsio!
Wow, guys.
Oh, my goodness.
All right, we begin Pop News this morning, everybody, with headlines from the hallowed halls of Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. This is what happens when you put two Harry Potter nerds
Yes,
next.
Too many butter beers in the studio.
Yeah, which, by the way, make for an excellent breakfast, I will say. All right, we've got some upcoming HBO Harry Potter series casting news to get to. 2 more main cast members, in addition to John Lithgow, who we know will play Dumbledore. Deadline reports that Janet McTeer, who you may recognize from Ozark, is in negotiations to play Professor McGonagall, and Papa Essiedu from I May Destroy You will play Professor Snape. Now, those are big roles to step into, obviously made famous by the late Dame Maggie Smith and Alan Rickman. The series is set to span over a decade, which is why casting these roles is such a huge deal. John Lithgow joked, by the way, that he'll be about 87 years old at the wrap party, but he said yes nonetheless.
Oh, he's so incredible. He's a perfect Dumbledore.
Yeah, I think so.
It's going to be so great. All right, turning now to 007 and the search for the next James Bond. Following the news that Amazon MGM Studios is now in full control of the iconic spy franchise, the search is back on for who will play 007 next. This week, Pierce Brosnan, who of course played Bond from 1995 to 2002, is opening up to GQ about picking up the golden gun once again. When asked if he'd return as Bond, Pierce says, of course, how could I not be interested? But the 71-year-old did add that I think it's best left to another man, really, fresh blood. So who could it be? Well, fans have said Theo James from The White Lotus Season 2, you remember him, or Regé-Jean Page from Bridgerton, but there's still a small but mighty group of #Geonatics.
What?
This is so funny.
Ready
This is so
for Gio Benitez to step into the room.
I was not expecting that.
hilarious.
That's
you should
hysterical.
use his Hogwarts impersonation for the accent.
And
That'll
he's
work
got it.
perfectly. Yeah.
Benitez. Yeah. All right, finally, it's rare that I get to cover a true 911 level emergency in Pop News, but this morning, brace yourselves for a harrowing 911 call placed to the Moore Police Department in Oklahoma. Take a listen.
Hello?
Yes?
Do you have an emergency?
Oh, yes. Can I get your baby? Who wants to see donuts? That's cool.
I want some donuts.
An emergency.
An emergency?
Emergency donuts.
Emergency donut.
Wow.
Okay, so it turns out that the emergency donut request was coming from an almost 4-year-old named Bennett, who is celebrating his 4th birthday today. The Moore Police Department showing up to make sure that Bennett got his emergency donuts.
That's so
And in honor of his birthday, I secured some emergency donuts of our own, so please help yourselves.
Happy birthday to Bennett.
Yeah.
We love that.
We're
I'll
always
take
in
one
need of
these.
an emergency donut.
Sometimes it is a real emergency when you need a donut.
And I didn't even have to call 911 for these.
You know, Janae has
Love
placed
that.
a call just like that.
Oh, no,
I do
sorry.
have a donut. My coffee was delivered. The donuts,
I'm
you
having
eat
a-
those.
having
I'm
a
going to
yard
head over
sale
because
over
we're
here.
getting ready for deals and steals. And don't forget, we've still got the ribs we got to eat. So
yeah.
don't eat all the donuts just yet. Hey, Tori Johnson is here joining us now for deals and
to make you
steals.
walk past
That's all
those
right.
donuts.
I don't mind sashaying over to you,
Donuts, not at
girl.
all. Okay, we're starting
Good
with
deals for
Miko.
your home.
Yes, home and kitchen. We're starting with
Air
Miko.
purifier.
This is an air purifier. The thing I like most about this is that it has an ability to monitor the air quality and then auto adjust as necessary based on the room that
Set it,
you're
forget
in.
it.
Yes, so you can set it and forget it. It will do the work for you. It does the thinking for you.
It's not too loud either.
It's not too loud. A space that is up to 900 square feet. So if you are concerned in that area, in that it could be a room, an office, whatever it is in your home, living room, bedroom, for dust, allergens, odors, this is the one for you. It also has an option with a diffuser. So if you want to put in a little bit of essential oils, that's an
Just as
option.
spring is around the corner, this is perfect.
It is, and it is $69 today.
Cha-ching.
Okay. You
Stay
want
plugged
to
in on the go.
Stay plugged in on the go, but you can also use it, quite frankly, on your kitchen counter or on your desk. These are from Limitless Innovations.
pretty.
So it is pretty, and it's functional and fast, which I like most. So you can either just put your phone right on front, and it's going to charge.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
If you've got one of the newer models. Otherwise, it's got the built-in cords, and then right in the back, it's got the built-in. outlet to be able to plug that right in.
And it tells you how much battery is left.
It tells you how much battery is left, and this will charge your phone up to 3 times without it needing to be recharged.
Okay.
So there's a lot of power that's packed in this. All these beautiful colors, your choice, $40.
Not bad.
Yeah, it's a really good one. Okay, this is a fabulous scale. This is from Withings, and this is a body composition scale, a smart scale that's going to look at a variety of body composition metrics. So, fat, muscle mass, it's going to look at bone, water weight. It's going to take all of those metrics. It will also do standing heart rate. Then you can sync all of that data into the free app right on your phone to be able to see your daily progress, to get a good sense of your overall health, and be able to work on long-term goals. So it will also give you trends, insights, and then a little daily motivation.
Yes.
So much smart information on this. It's 50% off. It's a really great scale.
I just realized the one thing I won't do on TV is step on a scale.
That's okay. That's why it's on the table. You and me both.
There you go.
Clean people. This makes doing eco swaps easy. So that's a detergent strip.
How small is this? It smells so good.
It smells good, but it's very effective. And instead of buying the big bulky plastic, this is plastic free. It's portion controlled too, so you don't use too much. When I used to use liquid detergent, I poured way too much. So this does it for you. We also have from them, we've got their dishwasher pods. We've got I love dryer balls. And then I also love that we have for dishwasher and washing machine the cleanser tablets, because
you got to clean the machine.
Exactly. When you clean the machine once a month, it works better and more efficiently for you. So all of these fabulous products, you guys love clean people. Everything Slash and Half starts at $6.
We all love clean people.
We do. Exactly. Exactly. I like that name. Refinery number 1. This is great. These are 100% Turkish towels. So we've got everything from small size like this, which is a great paper towel replacement. It is very absorbent. You could use it in the bathroom. We've got bath towels as well. So think kitchen, bath, beach, pool, anywhere. This is a really great towel. It gets softer with every wash, but it's lightweight, very absorbent,
so cute,
eco-friendly too.
Design.
They start at $9.
Amazing.
And then finally, I'm getting you to the ribs. This is Sauce Goddess.
I don't know if the guys
One
are
of the easiest ways. Yep, those are ribs. They're looking over there. Whoops.
Can we join you?
Of course you can. Here's what's great that I think Gio would love about this. No junk ingredients. Ingredients that even a 7-year-old could read and understand what they're reading.
This is good.
That's what this is all about. This is rooted in the joy of food memory, the joy of family memories that are rooted in food. So we've got everything from sauces and spices.
This sauce is so good.
That's sauces. Yep. So they're sauces that you can do. Ribs, chicken, seafood. I mean, literally on anything. And then the spices are great as rubs. They've put together phenomenal sets for us, all 50% off.
Tear that off the bone.
Gotta get in there sometime.
I mean, this
Tori,
is
we
like,
appreciate you.
This is the equivalent of 2 thumbs up.
Who made these ribs? You got going.
Thank you, Tori. We have partnered with all these companies. Find the deals on our website, goodmorningamerica.com.
I know, I should have read for you.
Get into these ribs, honey.
Sorry.
We're sitting down with Sophie Stava, the author of our GMA book club. This is so rude. I'm sorry. We'll be back.
Okay, we're back now with In Case You Missed It, Celine Dion giving an impromptu performance at an unlikely place.
Yeah, the superstar was at the TGL 3 vs. 3 golf match between the Jupiter Links and Atlanta Drive in Florida with her 3 sons when she was asked by ESPN's Marty Smith which of her songs best represents her golf game. Take a look at what she said.
Near, far, where, come on, you do this?
Wherever you are, I believe that my ball will go on.
Okay.
That's good.
Marty got to sing a duet with Celine.
That is awesome.
Wow. Tiger Woods, as you just saw, he was there. The whole crowd there got a kick out of that moment. A Titanic performance from the legendary singer.
She's just the best.
Yeah.
Gosh. You're jealous, Gio. What a moment.
DJ with the hits this morning on GMA. Welcome back. We've got a little mayhem magic and abracadabra, one of the singles off Lady Gaga's much anticipated 7 studio record. Mayhem that dropped a little over 24 hours ago and is already dominating the charts and earning rave reviews. It's currently #1 on iTunes, and fans and critics alike say that the 14-track album marks a return to the dance pop diva's roots, and it certainly sounded like it.
This was old school Gaga, so good. That was my Jim Jam yesterday. It was awesome. Great album.
Jim Jams.
Jim Jams, that's right. Let's talk about the headlines we're following right here. The Trump administration has canceled $400 million in federal grants to Columbia University, accusing them of failing to protect Jewish students from harassment. Columbia University in New York City was a hotbed of protests after the October 7th Hamas terror attacks and Israel's response. The university saying it is committed to combating anti-Semitism.
South Korea's impeached president has been released from prison. Video shows Yoon walking out of the prison gates, smiling and waving to supporters. The crowd outside the detention center in Seoul cheering and holding both South Korean and U.S. flags. Yoon was arrested in January over his December martial law decree that plunged the country into political turmoil.
And a reminder to spring forward. Daylight saving time hits at 2 a.m. on Sunday. We don't like
it. But it's going to feel good.
Morning news is a painful one. Set your clocks 1 hour ahead before going to sleep tonight. Unless you live in Arizona or Hawaii, then you get to just keep that hour of sleep.
And I'm setting my bedtime 1 hour back.
But when the sun is up later, it feels so good.
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
Well,
sure.
All right. Well, okay. Now
Yes.
to this month's GMA Book Club pick, and it is Count My Lies, Sophie Stava's debut novel, and she joins us now in studio. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm so happy to be here.
Oh, I bet. I mean, this cover is awesome. I always say, don't judge a book by its cover.
Yeah,
I kind of do. Until it's good.
Yeah.
This is a good cover.
This one you can, yes.
So, congratulations.
Thank you.
GMA Book Club pick.
Thank you.
What do you think? How do you feel?
It is wildly surreal. It feels incredible. I've been writing for about 15 years, and I've heard a lot of no's, a lot of rejections. But it's also given me a lot of time to fantasize about what hearing yes would be like and to fantasize about moments literally exactly like this one. So I'm just so honored to be here and so excited. So thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
And the reviews have been incredible here. And I understand that at least part of this was inspired by an interaction that you had in real life, right?
Yes. So a few years ago, my kids were really little. We had this routine of going to the same park at the same time every day. And one day there was a woman there who I'd never seen before. She also had 2 kids, so we naturally got to chatting. And we hit it off instantly, like in the way that you hope to make friends as an adult, but really don't often do, right? And so we excitedly exchanged numbers and said that we would get together again. But as we left, she walked out one gate and I walked out the other. I had this sudden chilling thought, like, what if the reason we got along so well is because she already knew things about me? What if it wasn't a chance encounter? And what if she engineered the meeting? And so I ran away with that and I thought, wouldn't it be so fun if there was a
were you thinking this about that person?
Yes! I was like, how did
goosebumps.
I love
it
the
felt
way
like
that your
too
mind
good to be
works.
true, right? Like, do you really meet somebody that good? And so I thought it would be such a fun story, and I ran away with it. Like, what if there was a character so desperate for connection she'd do and say anything?
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, hooked.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So we partner with Little Free Library to get copies of our GMA Book Club pick to readers all across the country. One of our stewards has a question for you.
Good morning, GMA. Hello, Sophie. My name is Karen, and I loved your debut novel. My question for you, Sophie, is what's the worst lie you ever told, and did you get caught or confess?
Oh, well, I am a terrible liar. It makes me feel incredibly sick to my stomach. And this started when I was really little. And I think my first memory of lying was we lived next to this beautiful home with this huge field of flowers. And one morning I decided it would be smart to pick flowers for a bouquet for my mom. So I went over to the neighbor's yard and picked this huge bouquet and gave it to her. And my mom was like, where did you get this? Did you pick these? And as soon as she said that, I realized, like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. So I said, no, I found them all lying on the ground. And she was like, oh, you did? And I felt so terrible. And later, like years later, I asked her, I was like, did you know that I was lying about this? And she was like, well, obviously, I knew you were lying. It's a terrible lie. So it sort of set me up to like avoid lying like the plague from then on.
Well, but you still kind of lied, because this particular interview, I mean, you couldn't talk about the GMA Book Club pick.
No, and I was going to say, I am a terrible liar. And so when anybody said, like, are you so excited? I'm like, oh my God, I'm so excited. And at one point, my father-in-law, who's been so kind and so excited, he's like, I bet you're going to go on TV. I can't wait to see you on Good Morning America. And I was like, oh, but I really am going to be on Good Morning America, and I can't tell you. And I felt like I was holding this big secret and lying. So it was sort of the irony of Count My Lies and counting all my lies.
It's kind of the perfect way to sell this book.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, so thank you. Another time, yeah.
And in addition to that, I understand that you have some big news, a surprise for fans here. What is that?
Well, I can say that the book is now under development for a TV show.
Already? Okay.
That's a fun, yes.
Oh, it's a dream. Well, it's so fun because the way I write, I sort of see the scenes playing in my head. And so to have readers be able to literally then see it on screen too is going to feel, I think, really magical.
And that's what's so fascinating, because before we came back from break, Gio was asking you what your writing process is like.
Yes.
And very Stephen King-esque. It comes to you as you're writing.
Absolutely. So I have this sort of like what if moment, like what if there's this character who's so desperate, and then I go from there. So I see that scene, and usually that scene leads me to another scene, and sometimes I see scene 20, and then I'm like, oh, now I need to connect this scene and this scene. But I've been a lifelong reader. I mean, I almost think of myself as a reader before a writer, and so I love a good twist, but I feel like the lead up to the twist is really what you want to nail. And to do that, I think, is to really like get invested in the characters, and so I spend a lot of time in their head and trying to figure out what their motivations are, so when you get that twist, it's that like really big moment.
And getting suspicious of people in real life.
Yes, yes. You have to have that eye out, everybody. Yeah.
Oh, that is awesome. You are such a pleasure.
I'm
Thank
so
you so much.
grateful. I'm so grateful. This is so much fun. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming in.
And I hope your father-in-law's watching.
He is. Hi.
Count My Lies is available right now. Thank you again.
Now on GMA with survivalist, thrill seeker, and storyteller Steven Rinella, who's using his outdoorsman skills to investigate legendary American mysteries like the harrowing tales of the legendary Donner Party and the lost colony of Roanoke on his new show, Hunting History. Steven, this is so cool.
Yeah, you mentioned the Donner Party, where they were trapped in a pass, now called Donner Pass, in the Sierra Nevada in California. And so you picture, like, what does that really mean? But you stand there in the snow, in this, like, rocky, crack through the mountains. And you're like, oh, now I understand. Like, stuck.
Oh, my
gosh. Like, you really can't move from certain places. It was really interesting.
Okay, let's take a look at an exclusive clip about the disappearance of more than 100 colonists in Roanoke. Check this out.
After seeing this area, it's so obvious that there's no way these colonists would have willfully, intentionally established themselves in a place like this. Like, the goal wasn't to live here in a cypress swamp eating gar. It was to build a city.
What's it like even watching back that clip?
That was one of the most hottest, miserable, bug-infested things I've ever done.
Really, truly.
And it puts you in the mood of what it would have been like to be stuck there hundreds of years ago, So like that kind of immersion really helps you understand the stories. And then the cool thing about the stories is all the stories we look at, all the mysteries are active mysteries, where there's people still dedicating their career to trying to find out. So it's hundreds of years old.
Yeah.
But every year there's some new thing that changes our understanding. So they're all kind of alive. You know?
And so what do you hope people take away from watching?
Man, I have kids, and I like to get my kids outside. I like to introduce my kids to thinking about things and questioning assumptions. So I guess I hope that people would be inspired to go outside. They'll be inspired to ask questions about where they live. So just, engagement, like engagement with the landscape, engagement with facts.
So cool. Steven Rinella, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me on.
And new episodes of Hunting History with Steven Rinella air Tuesday nights on the History Channel. So I talked to Steven a couple weeks ago, but you can check out those new episodes on Tuesdays. Very cool what he's doing. Kind of like re-exploring history in the present.
We know Gio's into survivalist stuff.
Yeah.
Out in the woods.
You are
and
too.
bugs
You would actually
and all.
love it.
Yeah, sure, let's do it.
And coming up, She Means Business. We are celebrating International Women's Day this morning by spotlighting products from female-founded companies. Stick around, some good products here.
And we are back now celebrating International Women's Day with female founders who really mean business, revolutionizing everything from beauty routines to fashion staples and inspiring the next generation. Lifestyle expert Brittany Levine is here with some of their products, and they're all shoppable, and you can actually just scan the QR code right there on the screen to get to them. Brittany, good morning. It's great to have you.
Great to see you guys
yes.
again.
So first up, we're talking about these plushies, and I guess they can actually help save elephants.
Oh, yes. So what I love about all of these products is they're all giving back in some way, and what we've got here is from the Elephant Project. This woman, Christina McKean, has created these gorgeous plushies.
Cute.
They're so cute and adorable, but they're all about benefiting and giving back to the elephants. So after she had her travel, she saw the mistreatment that they featured and faced, and really took all of the sales and net proceeds from her elephants. She now has her lions and her puppy dogs. So being able to take all the net proceeds for that, giving back to organizations that really all go back to organizations have issues with the poaching and the abuse crisis for all of the elephants. So she's doing amazing things there.
Great.
Yes, so we love it.
Next up, we've got a beloved bag that it's been around for decades. Now it's a TikTok sensation.
Okay, yes. So for many women out there, yes, Vera Bradley has been resurging and going like crazy. These were started by two best friends who they were traveling around the airport, and they noticed that there were no colorful bags out there. So they took it $500 and said, let's create these gorgeous quilted bags. This is actually from the Heritage Collection. So you see these vintage patchwork designs, right, that were inspired by when they started it in the 80s.
There's so much detail here, too.
It's beautiful. Yeah, and they have like the patchwork and quilting. But if you know Vera Bradley, you know they're about the color. They're about that uniqueness. So when you spot one on the streets, you know it's them. But this collection is like $70 to $130, duffel bags. You know, they have their side shoulder bags. So really cute stuff. And yeah, we love it.
All right.
Yep.
Stuff there. But you know I love my skincare. So I'm going to come in here, Brittany, and let's talk about this because I saw this brand and I said, oh, this is good stuff.
Oh, Indy Lee has been doing amazing stuff when it comes to skincare. And what we love about her is she is actually a 2-time brain tumor survivor.
Wow.
She believed it started from the environment, right? It was derived from the environment. So she has taken all beautiful natural ingredients that are eco-conscious, Leaping Bunny certified, and really combined them into toners. She's got melting cleansers to take off your makeup. Really, really beautiful. And I just love that she's really embracing all those natural ingredients.
Yeah, this squalane oil is a big seller.
Yes, you know, I know my stuff. He's up on his skincare, and I love that. But yes, she's beautiful, and you can find all of her products there at indylee.com.
That smells good.
So good, right?
All right.
Yeah, they're using it on the White Lotus set right now.
That's
you probably
right.
see it there, yes.
Okay, so what do we got here?
Okay, this is from Gooseberry Design. So I know a lot of you enjoy that piece of nostalgia where if you've gone to a certain state or maybe you've been married there or want to give a gift bag, they take all hand-etched designs and put them onto bags. They have bamboo boards, even kitchen towels for you. Yeah, so they're woman-owned and family-operated, which I love.
So you can really customize it.
You can customize their pieces, but they have a whole selection and array on their site. Really cool. And yeah, great price points. We're talking under $100, which is great. So you can embrace where you love and then give someone a little special gift. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Okay.
All right.
That, and then we have this incredible little playhouse. You've got an exclusive discount on it. Kids would love this.
We do, yes. So make it cute. These ladies, Amanda Seyfried, who we all know her amazing movies, and two of her best friends, Maureen North and Hone, they wanted to invent a childhood classic and take a play on the playhouse by using all.
Gosh, I would have loved it.
It's unreal, right?
Like
they have
this
two options. It's so easy to set up. If I can set it up, anyone can set it up. Come around.
Not sure if I'll fit.
They give back to different organizations. So when every playhouse sells, they can plant a tree with the Canopy Project. They also give back to the American Childhood Cancer Organization. And I love that your kids can get in here and have fun, but you also have something that's sustainable in your home, made from the best materials and little accessories. But right now,
it's got like a little doggy door back here.
It's so all the details are perfection. And if you go on the site right now, you can get this for $150 with the code GMA30. So it's an exclusive because this is something that's going to last. My son plays in it every single day.
I've got 3 kids at home, and I think we could get a round of all 3 of them.
You're taking this with you. You're taking this with you today.
Thank you so much for being here, and you can get all these products on our website.
And a reminder, ABC News Live has a weekend programming. Who's on duty today?
I'll be there. I'll be there.
You're the Huckleberry.
That's right, starting at 10 a.m. Eastern.
I'm your Huckleberry.
See a little picture down there? Thanks for starting your Saturday with us. We will see you right back here tomorrow.
Set your clock back.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.